Hello everyone, and you may be wondering, how come an engineer with a master's in electronics who was working on internet marketing became an energy healer? I will tell you right now. This is my son 11 years ago. He had a terrible autoimmune disease caused by excessive vaccinations. 23 vaccinations at the age 3. His immune system was so messed up, distorted, and confused that was attacking his own kidneys. He couldn't urinate. He ended up in the emergency room. This is the reason he's so swollen. The doctors gave him steroids to shut down his immune system. Can you imagine a 3-year-old kid without immune system? And that was stopping his growth. The side effects of the steroids is to stop the growth. All his friends were growing, and he wasn't. It was very painful for us. After 6 months of pain and suffering, we found a homeopathic doctor in India. Homeopathy is an energy information remedy. It restores missing or distorted information in our organs or immune system, bringing it back to balance. And he said in 3 to 4 weeks he will be okay. I didn't want to wait that much because we had enough. And I went to a healing workshop, an energy healing workshop given by Joe Dunning, where I was going to be surrogate of my son. At that time, I didn't know anything about energy healing. I didn't even know that the word surrogate existed in the English language. But for my son, I would do anything. On the 3rd day of the workshop, she asked, who is going to be surrogate for his son? I raised my hand. And she asked us to stand up, all of the 20-30 people that were there, and close our eyes. I was there with my eyes closed, and after 5 to 10 minutes, I start feeling energy going up and down my body. I know very well the feeling of energy because my father, who was an electronic engineer, told me everything about electromagnetic fields. However, this energy felt finer, more gentle, powerful, still powerful. I could feel it very well. And then I opened my eyes to see what was going on. And I see Joe Dunning doing this, looking at my body, going up and down, and the feeling of energy, distinctive feel of the healing energies, were following her hands. I said, holy moly macaroni, this woman is a living and walking energy field transmitter. And there was no antenna, no amplifier, no device, just her hands. That day my son was healed. And that was my turning point, because as a scientist and engineer, that blew my mind. I knew that was something behind, something more important that I didn't know in healing and science exist. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my son a few years later. This is my son a year ago. And this is my son now. Look, he's healthy and taller than me. And his nephrotic condition never came back and won't ever come back. Today, I'm going to talk about energy healing as the practical application of quantum mechanics. I'm going to divide my presentation in 3 topics. The spiritual anatomy model of humans from the quantum physics point of view, how energy healing works from the quantum mechanics point of view, and the energy healing quantum mechanics connection. When I talk about the spiritual anatomy model of humans, I'm going to be using all these concepts. However, I'm going to explain a little bit about the 3rd and 4th dimensions. When I approach healers or people in the energy healing environment and ask them, what are dimensions? Nobody knew how to explain to me. They have an idea that is another realm of existence, but that's all. And I was investigating and I found out. When I was a kid, my dad gave me this book. I still have it. And that chart was in there. And I was fascinated with this chart. Since I was a musician, I play several instruments. I was fascinated with this part of the chart where it shows a keyboard and all the frequencies and all the instruments, from classical instruments. At that time, there wasn't any electric guitar or electric bass or synthesizer. However, I was just mesmerized, where we can see the visible spectrum that is a very narrow spectrum in the full spectrum of frequencies. This is another way to express the same chart. And we can see, again, the visible spectrum, the relative size of different things, the frequencies at the wavelength that I'm going to explain, the wavelength that is comparable with the baseball, the cell, etc. The different types of transmissions that we know of. For example, this is another way to express the same chart. The audio frequencies that in this logarithmic scale is very tiny. AM is about here. We have FM, we have TV, cellular phones, microwave, and all the medical frequencies used in medical applications. The instruments that we have to measure frequencies can measure up to 90 megahertz, gigahertz. Instruments like the oscilloscope or this frequency meter. Again, the visible spectrum is there. This is the same table of the electromagnetic spectrum simplified. And I asked my dad, what is behind? The wavelength of an electromagnetic wave is the distance that one cycle of that wave travels at the speed of light. If the wave is one cycle a second or 1 hertz, it will travel 300,000 kilometers in 1 second. If that electromagnetic wave is 2 cycles or 2 hertz, goes up and down 2 times in 1 second, the wavelength will be half of that. And so on. So it's very important to remember that the higher the frequency, the wavelength is shorter and shorter. High frequencies have a very short wavelength. And when I asked my dad, what is behind? Because everything that we can see and measure is the third dimension, the space-time dimension. It's the third dimension because we have width, length, and depth. And we need a space because if I move in the next minute, you cannot find me here. So you need the space and time in this dimension, third dimension that we live on, this reality. What is behind the cosmic rays? And my dad told me, I don't know. I said, what do you mean you don't know? You're an electronic engineer, you have a master in electronics. Well, my dad said, the scientists, the researchers, they don't know. They say that they don't know. Okay? But I didn't take it for granted. That was always behind my mind. Would you like to know what is there? What is behind there? What is behind with higher frequencies, higher than cosmic rays? Would you like to know? Those are the other dimensions. The third dimension, the fourth dimension, and all the other dimensions. We're going to talk about just the fourth and fifth dimension. We got enough with that. This is a representation of your energy body. Remember that I will try to explain to you something from other dimensions. This is the best graphic representation I can make with information that I have. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your brain, your energetic brain. When we are engaged in a mental process, when we have to make a decision, do we have to do business with this person? Should I date this man? All that information is processed in our physical brain. I usually feel that energy here in the front of my brain, and it can be measured with the instruments that we have. Very easily measured. That mental process is received by the pineal gland, which is in the center of our brain. The pineal gland is a transducer that transduces the energy from the third dimension, from our physical brain, on a fourth-dimensional energy. What is a transducer? A battery is a transducer from chemical energy to electricity. A microphone is a transducer from sound waves to electricity. A solar panel from the sunlight or any light to electricity. A windmill from the energy of the wind that moves the propellers to electricity. A crystal quartz is a transducer from mechanic vibration to electricity, or vice versa. You can put electricity and you get a vibration. This is fascinating. The pineal gland is a transducer from third-dimensional energy that we can process to another form of energy that our spiritual brain can process. That energy goes to our spiritual brain. Remember again, this is a graphic representation from something that involves the third dimension and the fourth dimension. And that information goes to our spiritual brain or energy brain, who is in contact with the bioenergy field, the field where all the knowledge and information is. The spiritual brain analyzes that information that came from our physical brain and makes contact with this database of all the information and comes back through our conscious, which is a characteristic, a feature of the spiritual brain, with that information which is transduced in a way that we can understand by the pineal gland and inform us in a form of suggestion. There is no judgment, no punishment, no blame. It's just a suggestion and says, this is the best decision that you can make on the situation that you have for your highest good. And we can take that suggestion or not. This conscious information that we have is what we call the sixth sense or intuition. And many times that information is also sent to our chakras, which are the senses of our energy body. Do you remember more than once in your life when you meet a person or you have to make a decision in your life and your heart starts beating with love or with pain, or your gut instinct tells you, no, you shouldn't do that. You better move away from that situation. Or your solar plexus feels pain. I usually feel that energy on my brain, also on my brain. However, one time I was about to talk to this person, and I knew that what I was going to tell this person wasn't the best thing, the best choice in my life. And as I was about to utter a word, I felt an energy choking my throat. Literally, I wanted to talk, and this person was looking at me. What is going on with you? I couldn't say a word. When I come back and I decide, okay, I shouldn't do, I recover my voice. That was protecting me. This information from the spiritual brain, from this conscious that it was acting on my throat chakra, was protecting me from a very wrong decision that I was going to do in my life. We receive that suggestion in our spiritual senses, or chakras, or our physical brain, and then we are just us and our free will. And we have a decision to make, a choice. Do we do this or not? Do we make business with person, or do we date this person or not? Is it a yes or is it a no? We have two choices. When we follow these suggestions in our chakras or conscious, we accumulate or we record a positive quantum charge in our energetic body or spiritual brain. If we don't follow that suggestion, we accumulate a negative quantum charge in our spiritual brain. And there is no judgment again. that negative quantum charge is somewhere in our spiritual brain or energetic body. That negative quantum charge is what energy healers call an energy blockage, or in Eastern philosophies called karma. However, karma has nothing to do with punishment or blame or bad luck. It's just an energetic charge. It's very important to be aware of this process, to develop our intuition so we can feel our gut instincts and make decisions in life. We're going to go through this process very quickly again. We have a mental process registered in our physical brain, goes through the pineal gland, and is transferred on an other form of energy that our spiritual brain can understand, and comes back to our conscious, transformed again by our pineal gland to an energy on this third dimension that we can understand in a form of suggestion. It's like if somebody came through the window and said, Carlos, this is your best decision, the best decision you can make, and leave, without even waiting for an answer for us. There is no judgment, no punishment, no guilt, no blame. It's just a suggestion. And we take it or not. We can have this or we can have this. We have a choice. Now, energy never disappears and gets destroyed. Energy changes. Energy always transforms. How we can transform this negative quantum charge in order to balance our energy body? This is why Reiki is a balancing energy technique that I will talk about soon. How do we remove this energy blockage? There are several ways. The first one, the most common one, is the spiritual brain, since physical pain or mental suffering. And when that pain goes through that negative quantum charge, it starts dissolving. However, the pain is a very slow process. A faster process is when we learn the lesson and through love, we dissolve this energy blockage. This is a simple explanation. When we have physical pain or love, that energy goes through the negative quantum charge, and on time and persistence, we dissolve that. This is dissolved. I found that through meditation and pranayams, these energy blockages can be dissolved in a faster way. And I also found that using various forms of energy healing, that negative quantum charge can be dissolved in a faster way. In the second part of my presentation, I'm going to talk about how energy healing works from the quantum physics point of view. Before doing that, we're going to explore what energy healing does. Energy healing removes quantum negative charges or blockages, those blockages that doesn't let us move forward in life and affect our health. Energy healing restores missing or defective information from our organs, from our immune system, our energy in general, and helps the energy to flow better. Energy healing brings energy from the fourth dimension, which is converted by your chakras in an information and energy that we can use. Energy healing strengthens the immune system, the nervous and the metabolic systems, promoting health and promoting self-healing. Now I'm going to talk about the spiritual anatomy model of humans from the energy centers or chakras point of view. This is a representation of our chakras, and it's a very good one because they are vortices of energy. Our chakras are energy vortices, whirlpools, or transduces our energy. They receive energy, absorb energy from the fourth dimension, and transform them in energy that we can interpret and use in the third dimension. The chakras are made by subatomic particles from the third and fourth dimensions. This is why they are transducers. They have the capability to absorb energy from the fourth dimension and transform it in energy that we can use. The performance of our chakras depends on the capacity that they have to absorb this energy from the fourth dimension by its quantic components. These are some of the properties or features of our chakras. The chakras are the senses of our spiritual body or energy body. They receive energy information from this fourth dimension. The energy captured by our chakras is transferred, first is converted in a way that we can understand and use, and energize, feeds our organs. For example, the energy of the heart chakra will feed our heart, lungs, and all the organs around. The energy that we receive in our second chakra will feed the digestive system and all the organs around that. We feel this energy, this subtle energy, when it's transformed as a vital energy, prana, ki or chi, which are different names from different traditions. This subtle energy promotes our body's strength, vitality, health, and self-healing. We need to have the energy that we have in our bodies doesn't come only from material food, from water and oxygen and the air. A great deal of energy comes from this other dimension. If we wouldn't have chakras, we wouldn't live. And also keeps our body energized, our minds sharp and alert. Do you remember when you feel foggy, that you don't feel yourself? Everybody wants to have a sharp mind so we can tackle the day, our activities, our work with efficiency. This is a representation how the chakras are capturing energy from the fourth dimension. If there is a blockage of energy that is represented here by this great cloud, this is how intuitives see energy blockages. The energy that the chakras are absorbing is limited because of this blockage of energy. And health conditions occur. For example, chronic fatigue, heart pain, or any pain or health challenges on the organs related to the chakra. For example, when we have a broken heart, how do we feel? We feel weak. We lose our enthusiasm, we lose our vitality because the energy is blocked here, doesn't flow properly. If the energy blockage is on another chakra, we are going to experience other symptoms. If it's in the first or second chakra, we may have chronic fatigue. It's the typical case of back pain, lumbar pain, and other parts of our back. We could have sexual or reproductive problems. And when those energy blockages are removed, guess what? The energy flows through our chakras and health is restored. Another important concept that we have to understand is that the human energy field or aura is made of the energy supplied by the chakras. This aura energy field is a four-dimensional antenna. Our auras are our spiritual body's antenna. That means they have the capability and the function to send and receive information from these other dimensions, from this subtle energy. That's why we need to keep our auras healthy. When we receive this information in a form of energy, we perceive it as a message. This subtle energy that we receive is perceived as images or sounds or knowledge. And all of us have this capability to receive those messages. Now, how energy healing works. My friends, we are back to school. This is a graph that represents size, distance. This is 1 meter, which is about 3 feet. This is 1 millimeter, which is 0.001 meter, is about 1/32 of an inch. And I am using exponential notation because we are going to be talking about very small particles. And the smallest is the particle, we have to put more decimal points to the right. So 10 to the minus 3 means 3 decimal points to the right. 10 to the minus 6 is 6 decimal. So it's not practical to write in this notation. This is basic math. I hope you remember. This is the size of the vegetable cell, 10 to the minus 4. And 10 to the minus 5 is 10 times smaller, which is the size of an animal cell. 1 micron is the size of the bacteria. And 1 angstrom is approximately the diameter of an atom. 10 to the minus 18 is approximately the size of the proton. And the next one is the smallest particle that scientists have discovered up to date. And it's called parton or quark. Partons of quark are the size of the essential particle of matter, means the subatomic particle that made up everything else, the electron, protons, neutrons, atoms, everything else. Now, what is behind that? What is smaller than that? Do you want to know what is smaller than that? Smaller than that at higher frequencies is pure energy or cosmic energy. Quarks, which are the smallest particle that we can discover up to date, are the building blocks of matter. They made up everything that we see in this third-dimensional world. The partons or quarks are condensed cosmic energy. And I read in a book, and I agree very much with that, partons or quarks are condensed God's love. This condensed energy is universal. What does it mean? We can access that energy everywhere, and we can send it everywhere. This is what distance healing is all about. The energy healing practitioner sends that energy. And prayer is a form of distance healing. You are sending energy to another person. It's intelligent. This energy goes wherever you need it. This is the intelligent energy that makes from an egg and a sperm these complex and beautiful bodies that we have. This is the same energy that makes a tiny seed sprout and grow into a plant and a tree with luscious fruits. This is the energy that keeps our body alive when we are sleeping. We don't have to tell our body, pump the heart, digest our food, and do all the other things that our body does. This energy is responsive. That means when we ask for help, it will come. Do you remember Harry Potter when he summoned his wand and he said, Accio wand, and the wand came from wherever in the world was it, even if it was hidden, it came to his hand right away. There is a way to summon this energy. And that's what energy healing does. And guess what? You can do it too. And it's difficult or almost impossible to study this cosmic energy, this quantum energy, with the limited instruments that we have, as I explained before. The instruments, the third-dimensional instruments, have a limit. And guess what? Energy healing works with this cosmic energy from the other dimension. Energy healing works with this quantum energy. It's so powerful because it goes to the root cause of the health challenges. Because it works with the quarks, with the partons, with the energy. Energy healing works at the cellular level, with energetic cause of health challenges. I wanted to know if these healing energies can go through metal. The experiment was to conduct a distance session to a person that was inside of this shielded room. This is an electromagnetic shielded room. The walls, ceiling, and floor are made of solid and high conductive metals. And we all know when we put a metal, electromagnetic energies like from the cellular phone cannot go through. The person receiving the energy healing could feel the energy just the same as when he received energy healing at a distance outside of the children's room. That person feels the energy of this distant healing just as when he's receiving it hands-on. That means that the healing energies are not attenuated by metal, concrete, or any other physical barrier or object. These healing energies cannot be interfered by anything. This is a very profound experiment because it shows that we can send energy to anybody, anywhere, under any circumstances. These healing energies that are from the other dimension, that don't interact in the same way with our dimension. For those energies, our third dimension is transparent, invisible. This happens in a Beijing hospital in China. 3 medicinal Qigong practitioners, Qigong is a form of energy healing, they are sending energy to a woman with bladder cancer. There is a technician with an ultrasound probe measuring the size of the bladder tumor.
Over 8 years, the center has successfully treated more than 180 types of illnesses, including bladder cancer.
You can see the picture before the treatment and real time. This is an science experiment. What is it? And see the joy of the practitioners. Greg Braden popularized this video in his book, The Divine Matrix. And for more information, you can go to Greg Braden's explanation of this video. He gave many workshops talking about this video. And the explanation that he gives is a little different than mine. However, we are not disagreeing. It's a different way to explain. What these practitioners were doing is sending energy with their intention and with all the love of their hearts, and imagining, creating this feeling that this tumor was going to disappear. It's very interesting that Greg said regarding this video, when we know how miracles work, they become a technology. And technology is the practical use of knowledge. This is what energy healing is. It's the practical use of quantum physics. And I need to tell you my experiences with the divine matrix or energy field. I received numerous distance healing, but one of the most scientific ones is when I went to see Greg Braden. And this is what happened. Greg was teaching and showing us a technique, the heart focused breathing technique developed by the HeartMath Institute, in which you create a very deep and strong feeling of love, compassion, and care. And you breathe this feeling, and you breathe out that feeling, and you focus on your heart. This technique is used by law enforcement to calm their brain because of the stressful work that they do. Greg asked for a volunteer to do this technique. I forgot to tell you that this technique produces an entrainment between the brain and the heart. An entrainment means, in this case, that the brain will feel the calmness of the heart and works like wonder. I went to the stage, I sat down on a chair. Greg put a sensor in the lobe of my ear connected to his computer, where there was a software that was going to measure the activity, my brain activity through this point, and put it in a graph. the line of the graph produced by the sensor was supposed to fall between these two blue lines if the experiment was successful, if my meditation was successful. When I went to the stage, I said, I've been practicing meditation since I was 19. It's going to be a piece of cake for me. And it really was. I felt all this energy of love and calmness, and my brain was calming down. However, within a few minutes, all of a sudden, my mind went blank. Actually, I saw a gray shield that looks like an energy blockage. As I explained you before, that they are gray clouds. I saw a very clear gray shield. And I didn't know what I was supposed to do. I didn't know where I was. I had conscious that I was, but I didn't know. I was like kind of lost. Like trying to wake up from this bad dream where you know that you have to get up but you can't. And a few seconds later, I recovered consciousness. I remember what I was supposed to do, and I kept practicing this heart-focused breathing exercise. At the end of the practice, Greg complimented my practice, and he noticed that there was a little discontinuity, and he dismissed it because the line went very well between these two lines, the line of the signal of the sensor. And I am amplifying the discontinuity. This is a time when my mind went blank. And the experiment just started, because there was a second experiment unannounced. At the end of the experiment, as I was gathering my belongings, a young man came to me and said, stuttering, I'm sorry for what I did. Please forgive me. I said, what happened? And he said, when you were practicing the meditation, when the line was going up, I decided to test if the divine matrix existed. And what I did is I imagined that I was choking you. I did a headlock. And when I opened my eyes, because Greg's computer was connected to the big screen, everybody, the 100 people in the workshop saw this experiment. I saw that the line was going flat. That means that you were doing nothing when it was going so well. I got scared, the young man told me, and I stopped doing it. And the line started going up. What do you think about that? He wanted to do a science experiment to see if the divine matrix, if this biofield of energy exists. And that wasn't any better. It couldn't get any better of experiment. I said, my friend, don't you even worry. As an energy healer, that was one of the most wonderful science experiments I ever seen. Can you imagine what the world will be? Not with this guy choking me, but if we live with the consciousness that everything that we do affects everyone else, like in quantum mechanics, that I will talk a little later, what the world will be if we send love and peace to people to whom we have challenges. Instead, what do you think we have so many wars and natural catastrophes? This energy field has been named since immemorial times by different races with many names. All natives from all continents called it Mother Earth, and they knew the connection that humans have with Mother Nature, with the animals, with the stars, with everything. It was called the Matrix by Max Planck, the father of quantum physics. In the 1900s, the term ether was very popular. The divine matrix, that Greg Braden popularized this term with his book and create great awareness in the world. Dr. Adam MacLeod calls it the field of information because this is the way that he connects with the field. And he sees an interchange of information. The Akashic Records, the bioenergy field, the term that I like to use for energy healing, and many other terms, the Force, the Holy Spirit. And this is my interpretation, what the world will be if we practice these principles, if we are conscious that we connect to each other and we can influence each other. In my opinion, receiving an energy healing session, a Reiki session, is a treat because you feel energized and peaceful at the same time. Many times I feel my body going out. I feel like floating in a cloud or floating in water. And this is when our energetic body moves away from the physical body, and it's very, very clear, very tangible, that sensation. And that's when healing happens more powerful. It doesn't mean that if you don't feel that, healing doesn't happen. And I will show you some testimonials of persons who have received Reiki energy healing.
And I felt like I was getting an energetic oil change.
And then when you place your hands over my heart, it felt like energy just went, just branched out to the sides.
I have been on pain medicine for over 5 years, and it's been 2 weeks since I've stopped taking any meds. I feel real light, and I feel really happy.
It was very calming, a complete sense of bliss. Immediately, I just felt warmth and healing. I can't really describe it, but it's a really amazing feeling. How it would feel if, you were in heaven.
It was absolutely incredible. And the first time was very different from the second time. Both of them were just as energizing, and even energizing the next day and the next day after that.
Within 5 or 10 minutes of this session, these sharp, piercing pains just very quietly went away.
I suggest you to try an energy healing session so you can judge it for yourself, to feel that experience. You may want to learn energy healing, and the requirements to be a good healer are very easy, very simple. You have to have a positive intention. You have to try your consciousness. When you start practicing energy healing, your consciousness raises the frequency, your particular vibration frequency raises. This is natural. The higher is your frequency, the higher is the love that you have and you put in the healing session, the more powerful are the sessions. And you may be thinking that to be an energy healer, you have to be gifted, you have to be special. Watch what people just like you, with little or no previous training, manifested after the recent 3 days long Secret Seal workshop.
I'm left sort of mind blown because I didn't think that in just 2 short days I would be able to have an effect like that.
I came here to learn about Reiki, but I didn't quite understand why they were saying that it was a lifestyle. But now that I've actually taken the course, I realize how many different applications Reiki has to someone's whole entire life.
If you're interested in learning about energy and how to move energy in your own body or in helping others, this is a course that is worth taking.
It made it very easy for me to learn the symbols and then to test them and apply them, and then to hear the person that I tried them on actually respond and say that they could feel the things that I was doing was like affirmation that it was working. And
Carlos and Matthias had a way of presenting that that made it very easy to feel, very easy to understand, and very easy to practice.
All these people were, for the very first time in their life, in an energy healing Reiki training. This is why I teach Reiki, an easy to understand and learn energy healing method. Simple to practice, and the results are always there. The word Reiki comes from Japanese root and means the cosmic energy, the energy underlying the whole creation, and the vital energy that energy manifests in our bodies. It's a living, intelligent, healing energy. It goes where it needs. Many times the Reiki practitioner doesn't even need to know exactly where the problem is, because that energy eventually will go where it's needed. It's like an energy healing challenge. Could be emotional or physical. It's like a void of energy. It's like something deep in the energy field. So the energy tries to balance the cosmic energy, the subtle energy balances the energy in us. It's very effective with emotional challenges like a depression, anxiety, a broken heart, and so on. Reiki, one of the particular energy healing techniques that I practice, is done hands-on and a distance too. And this is just an example of some of the positions for those who have never seen it before. This is in a pain management clinic where I practice. That was the lady in the testimonial. I encourage you to develop your own morning routine, energizing morning routine. And this is what I do, more or less what I do. There are always variations. And if for you is to walk your dog in the morning, just do it. And or maybe take a half an hour walk, or go to the beach, run by the beach and jump into the water. Whatever it is that keeps you energized is something almost imperative that we have to do in our life. This is a graphic description of what a pranayama is. A pranayama is a combination of breathing and visualization and intention. Breathing, visualization, and intention. I want you to focus on the chakras, and that green oval represents an energy blockage. One of the benefits of pranayams is that they dissolve energy blockages, but just focus on that and you will see what happens. One of the pranayam that I practice consists on visualizing the energy up and down the spine. This goes continuously. This is just a graphic representation. Go continuously. You consciously send the energy up and down, and the energy blockages disappear. I experienced this in my life since I was 19 or 20 when I was practicing these techniques. Pranayama is an adept science for expanding and channeling the life force or prana. You master how to move the energy on your body, especially on your spine, and that quickens your evolution and makes speed up the elevation or raising of your consciousness. Pranayam comes from two Sanskrit words. Prana, which is the energy, the fundamental life force, and yama meaning control, and is the control, the conscious control of the energy. However, it's not forcing. This control is not forcing. We are not abusing our body with this control. We are lovely asking this energy to energize our chakras. It's very powerful. In my opinion, pranayams are one of the fastest practices to speed up human evolution and raise consciousness. The benefits of practicing pranayams are many. And I am telling you what I experienced in my life, in my own body. It's not nothing that I read in the book. I've been practicing this since I was 20, just 5 years ago. Dissolves quantum energy charges or energy blockages, or what in Eastern philosophy they call karma, quickens the human evolution, raises your consciousness, promotes health, all those things and more. The energy healing quantum mechanics connection. There are a lot of similarities between quantum physics and energy healing that we are going to explore now. The most important part to understand is that there is a subtle energy behind what our senses can perceive. Something more than this physical world that we see. And also that there is an energy interacting actively in the healing process, and bioenergy field from which we draw energy, knowledge, and information. There are several principles or theories in quantum physics. The quantum entanglement or quantum action at a distance says that when there are two quantum particles entangled, what happens in one particle will happen in the other, or there is an interchange of information instantly that knows no time and space. It may happen anywhere if the particles are close or far away apart. That's what distance healing is. When a practitioner is in one place and the person receiving the healing energy could be thousands of miles away. In the quantum entanglement, there is no time and space. Everything has been measured, and what happened with one particle, quantum particle, happened in the other exactly at the same time and anywhere in the world. Energy healing knows no time and space. There is no travel of energy. It happens instantly. This is a graph made by Dr. Adam McLeod, a naturopathic doctor in Canada. He has the ability, the skill, the gift to see the energy. He's very skilled on distance energy healing, and this is what he sees. When he sends energy healing at a distance, he sees that the quantum object disappeared at one location, and by interacting with the biofield of energy, which is on another dimension, that reappears on another location without the need of traveling. I found this picture on the internet, and what caught my attention is the question mark, because that means that that person knew about quantum physics, about the quantum entanglement, the action, the non-locality, action at a distance. However, he put the question mark because he didn't know how did it happen. And I will explain to you according to my understanding. This interaction between quantum particles that are entangled happens in the media of the bioenergy field. That information is transmitted or propagated through that media. And I will show you this picture, my next picture, because it's a very nice representation of this connection between quantum particles. It's a very nice representation, this energy field connecting them. And we can call it the divine matrix or the bioenergy field. This is another picture. I am showing you these pictures because we understand with pictures, with graphs. That shows that whatever is happening in this blue particle will affect this other particle because they are entangled at the same time and vice versa. They both communicate in a dimension that there is no time and space. And this is my understanding. This principle happens through the fourth dimension, which is another energy, higher frequency that we cannot measure. You may remember Albert Einstein's equation that says that the energy equals the mass multiplied by the square of the speed of light. This equation tells us that energy can become matter and matter can become energy. However, Professor Don Lincoln says that this equation is incomplete because in order to produce a quantum particle of matter, at the same time an antimatter particle has to be made. And vice versa, when we join an antimatter and a matter particles, quantum particles, the energy is produced. Now, how is this related to energy healing? Professor Lincoln says that when the world was created, there was enormous amount of energy, and the matter and equal part of antimatter were formed. However, we cannot find it now. And it's very difficult to produce antimatter in this third-dimensional world. Actually, they are not stable and we cannot produce it for any practical purpose. And the reason is that antimatter belongs to the fourth dimension. So all this antimatter that belongs to the matter that we see exists, but on another dimension. with this principle, we can explain some functioning of how energy healing works in certain aspects. An unhealthy cell has the tendency to auto-destroy. And we know that energy cannot be destroyed. Energy becomes another form of energy. When we applied energy healing to an unhealthy cell, it auto-destroys and becomes antimatter on another dimension. Because of the influence of the energy healing and the other healthy cells, this antimatter becomes a healthy cell. There is another interesting experiment that puzzles the scientists at the time of Max Planck and Einstein. They realized and they saw when different researchers, different scientists perform the same experiment, quantum physics experiment, they have different results. And they said, well, the observer influenced the experiment. I have, in my opinion, another explanation. We saw before that we all have an energy field around us. In my opinion, the energy field, the frequency, the intention of the scientists were influencing the quantum particles, the quantum energy. Those energies can be influenced by yourself. Another very interesting analogy that we know in energy healing, in Reiki, we learn how to send energy through our eyes. The researchers doing those quantum physics experiments were changing the results just by observing. Yes, by observing, but because of the energy they were sending to the experiment. And you know that because when you make eye contact with somebody, when somebody you love, you feel that energy. Or somebody that you don't have some matching frequencies and you don't feel well, that there is enormous amount of energy that we transmit with our eyes. In my opinion, quantum physics, quantum mechanics is still trying to find out how the world works. This theory had made a great impact and progress on human evolution. However, nowadays, the best way to prove, to certify in a way, the quantum physics theory is in energy healing because of these analogies that explains the quantum theory, and the quantum theory explains how energy healing works. Dr. Oz uses Reiki energy healing in his operation room, and his wife is a Reiki master. When Dr. Oz started using Reiki energy healing in his heart surgery, he didn't have even one heart rejection. Why? This is a very well-known principle in energy healers. The reason is that the energy, the frequency vibration, the signature energy from the heart donor was different from the body that was receiving. When two energies do not match, they are rejected most of the time. This is the reason why surgeons, when they do organ transplant, they have most of the time, more than 50% of the time, organ rejection. So what Dr. Oz, he's very smart, was doing is asking the energy healer to match that frequency. And through energy healing, that can be done very easily. If surgeons listen to my presentation right now and start applying these principles, they may have 100% success in their surgeries. Reiki is used and accepted in over 200 hospital clinics and private practices in the United States. In UCLA Hospital here in Los Angeles, is used in the Urban Zen Cancer Program because Reiki is part of that program. I even practice in this pain management clinic. In my humble opinion, energy healing is the missing piece in the puzzle of holistic healing. Because energy healing brings together all therapies, harmonizing them, making them more effective, is an excellent complement with conventional therapies, with alternative therapies, with integrative medicine. Because helps to potentiate, to improve Healing is faster from surgeries, from broken bones, and many other conditions. Energy healing doesn't interfere or interrupt any other kind of therapies. That's why I suggest you to try. Remember that we have an energy body that interacts receiving and sending energy. How energy healing works with these subtle quantum energies and the intimate connection between energy healing and quantum mechanics. You may be thinking, what do we do with this? What is in there for me? When we will be able to use quantum physics technology, quantum mechanics technology to improve human life? Definitely not nowadays, in 2015, because the collective human consciousness is not wise enough to tap into this powerful technology. We can improve the way we use transportation, replacing the polluting gas cars. We can use technology to stop cutting the trees on the rainforest, which is the lungs of the earth. And this powerful technology won't be available anytime soon, because I'm pretty sure that some smarty pants will use this technology to create a new weapon of mass destruction or another insanity that we have in this world. Do you want to know when we will be able to use this technology? Get some pen and paper. We will be able to tap into this technology when jails become museums, when the jaws of kids drop, as the history teacher reads in the textbook that there was a time in Earth that people kill each other for money, for oil, for power, for religion, for God, and other insanities. When sexual energy was so misunderstood and misused that women and children were abused. That time will be when there is no borders. Look at this. It looks beautiful to me. We don't need any divisions anymore. When the national anthems speak about love and peace, and when perhaps the national anthems Until then, my friends, let's give it a try to energy healing, receiving or learning energy healing. It will make a big difference in your life. And like they say in Star Wars, may the Force be with you.